Well played. Pretty excitingly, we're actually getting the opportunity to test out the Eastern Front. As you may or may not remember, when they did Update 9, they did also introduce public testing servers. So you're able to test Update 9 before it went into full release. And the idea was to give them some kind of last minute or fairly late in the stage feedback for that one so they can make some changes before actually committing to the release. And they're doing a similar thing with Update 10, which as we know will include the Eastern Front and the map Kursk. So it's very exciting. We'll be able to give Kursk a go and also try out the Russian forces. I imagine it's going to be massively stacked with people trying to get on the Russian side, but it should be a good time. Like when I did actually try the Update 9 playtest environment, and yeah, it was good fun seeing what the changes were beforehand. I think for this one I might just wait until they've ironed out some of the issues, because I don't want to ruin it, the surprise. I want to go into the Eastern Front pretty fresh once they've made all the changes they need to make, so I can see it at its full capability. But if you like testing things, if you want to see things early, give it a try, give them feedback. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. They do say, and I've got the feeling that this test environment is going to be opened up earlier than they did for Update 9, so they do say it will be buggy, so bear that in mind. It's not going to be the finished product. They've still got work to do. I'm imagining, and I think it's a good thing, they wanted to get feedback pretty early so they can make the necessary changes sooner rather than later. And also I will say that if you miss a particular test, they do it in events, so it's available for a particular time, like 11 AM to 4 PM kind of thing. And there are going to be a few events, so don't worry if you miss one. If you miss the first one, you can I'm sure they'll make some changes and then do another event and then look for feedback on other events. So don't worry if you miss a particular one. There will be more before the full release of Update 10. So exciting times. It's weird to see that it's just around the corner. Essentially we'll be able to try out the Russian forces and try out those Russian weapons. Like I said, I probably will wait for the full release just because I don't want to ruin it for myself, but please, I would encourage, if you like testing, if you want to give it a try, you go for it. When I did the Update 9 one, just, you know, people obviously don't play the game properly. It's not like when it gets into full release, everyone's trying out the new stuff, so it's not really like proper games. It's just kind of people trying out the new items, new weapons, things like that. Another thing which they actually released in this developer brief, which probably bizarrely enough excited me just as much as the Eastern Front, and maybe this is just me being a sado, but they do really focus on the optimization. It was kind of interesting reading what they wrote about it, because some of the stuff is things that I potentially suspected but wasn't sure it was the case. And I'll just read out what they say about working on optimization. So they say optimization is an ongoing process and challenge when developing Hell Let Loose, with a special combination of high player count, huge emphasis on replicated physics and large-scale maps. We know that it's one of the most requested aspects of work, and it's something we've had a dedicated team working hard on for the last several months, as opposed to having to bounce back and forth between content creation and optimization. So I'll just stop reading it there, and yeah, that was kind of the bit I suspected. I kind of had a feeling for Update 9 they were working on some new stuff, trying some new features, or maybe previous updates as well. And yeah, it did get the feeling they were bouncing around and maybe didn't have too much focus on the optimization aspect. They were focusing on other issues, or on trying to develop other things, as opposed to really just zoning in on the optimization. Not to say they didn't do any work on it, but yeah, now I think with the feedback they've got from Update 9, it seems like they've decided just to really focus and hone in on optimization and just have a dedicated a team dedicated just to that aspect of the game, which is really, really good to see. And then they talk about a little bit of the particulars of what they're working in regards to optimization. So I'll just get into that. They say one area of key significance, and then in brackets they have "and ongoing pain," is the grass within Hell Let Loose. Setting a game in Normandy amidst endless rolling fields demands that grass not only be present but play a somewhat active role in the gameplay, typically concealing you at close range when lying down. It also plays a large role in adding detail to large stretches of otherwise featureless landscape. As a result, we've tried to balance our grass to provide a photoreal look up close and is also appropriate concealment. whilst also billboarding it in a way that allows us to keep it present at longer distances instead of culling it, as you do in games that don't rely on longer range engagements. So yeah, that's obviously, I think most of us knew that was a tough thing for them to do, make sure that grass appears at the long ranges, and we've had situations where if you're looking far enough, there's no grass, it's a completely flat environment, it's extremely easy to see the enemy, whereas on their screen I'm sure they're pretty well concealed. So continuing on with what they say at present we're currently working on creating much smoother blends between different levels of detail of the grass. This will mean that you'll notice far fewer shape changes the closer or further you walk from the grass, and the final transition to the billboard, and then there's loads of brackets being used, sorry, and brackets, the version of the grass we use at a very long range. So let me just read that again, that the final transition to the billboard will be much softer and less noticeable. We're also performing some key optimizations to the way it's rendered, including reducing triangle count to lower costs and increase visual bang for buck. Next week we'll take you through the usage of smart materials when it comes to vehicles. We're rolling this out with our new Russian vehicles first, and we think the results are pretty incredible when it comes to preserving detail right up close at less, capitalized, less, should have emphasized that with my voice, at less expense than any time before. So preserving detail right up close at less expense than any time before. So sounds like they're pretty excited about that. It's good to hear. Hopefully yield some pretty good results. And they just end it with optimization is ongoing and has greatly increased in the last several months. We want to assure you that it has huge priority within the team, and we're excited to show you the results. So yeah, when I read that the first time, I really liked what I was seeing. Something I was hoping they were going to make sure it was a priority, and they just seem to have stated it pretty clearly in this little section which they've got in the latest developer brief. They're just kind of reassuring people like me that they are really focusing on optimization. Yeah, it was interesting that they were saying they were bouncing back and forth before. It did kind of feel that way, that they weren't dedicated to optimization, but now it seems like, I imagine they've listened to the feedback. A lot of people have taken potentially breaks from the game. A lot of people weren't too happy with the fact that there was a bit of an optimization decrease. It's not the worst thing in the world, I don't want to over exaggerate it, but I'm glad to see that they are really focusing on that, because I think that's something that will really take the game to the next level. If they can get people, so you don't have to get like an incredible rig to get a decent FPS and a stable FPS. So good to see. I'm glad all they can do is work on it, and I'm glad they're just working on in my opinion the correct areas. So yeah, exciting news on the Hell Let Loose front. Interested to see what Kursk is like. Yeah, like I said, I'll wait for the full release, but I'm sure I'll have a glance at some actually I don't think you're allowed to film it, but it'll be interesting. Hope you guys, if you want to give it a try, make sure you give them feedback on it. And yeah, it's kind of exciting that it's close to us actually be able to see the Eastern Front. I don't know how long it'll be from this test environment to the actual full release, but yeah, it seems like things are going well over at Hell Let Loose developer headquarters. So anyway guys, I'll wrap this one up here. I just want to share that news with you guys. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure you leave a like and also think about subscribing. Cheers guys.